The Republican primary race for governor turned very personal this week. In court, Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins tried to remove rival James Fishback from the ballot. His suit argued that Fishback had not met Florida's 7-year residency requirement to be the governor. On Monday, a Leon County judge ruled in favor of Fishback, keeping him in the race. Fishback then fired back, demanding that Collins resign.
They're trying to throw a fourth-generation Floridian off the ballot because of a paperwork issue. Judge Frank understands that that's not going to happen. That would be the greatest act of voter disenfranchisement in the history of Florida, and so we're not going to let that happen. He
claims that Collins misused taxpayer campaign funds for the lawsuit. I'd like to get your reaction, Travis. You're snickering. You know, how do you and Christina see
Jay was my state
this?
senator. It seemed like a bit of a stunt. I mean, when you've been here as short a period of time as Jay has in the state of Florida, you probably shouldn't poke the other guy for being here, especially if he's a native Floridian. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm definitely not a Fishback supporter. I'm a Byron Donald supporter. I would make that clear. But I just think it was probably a bad strategic move on their part.
Christina?
I think we agree. I think it uplifted James Fishback even more when that really didn't need to happen. I think when I look at the Republican primary, I think what causes alarm for me when I look at this is that James Fishback is doing so well in this primary, and that's maybe why Jay Collins went after him. I mean, I do think Byron Donalds is going to be the Republican nominee, but I do think the second one is going to be James Fishback. And I think if you look at his rhetoric, it is very concerning. And I think that there's this younger population that is obviously voting for him, and the data shows that. But I find that it's concerning that he's doing so well in this Republican primary.
And Fishback is certainly not free of controversies. There are lawsuits from a former employee. There are remarks that have been made that many folks believe are racist. How do you see this,
I think
Michael?
you can make a strong case they're racist. And, you know, he has a series of financial problems that make you wonder about his organizational skills. He is very effective. He is tapping into some real angst out there economically. And so I think that's his strength. But just the fact that we're talking about Fishback and Collins, two candidates who are running far, far below the front runner, Byron Donalds.
Byron's leading in the polls. He's leading in the
kind
money.
of, you know, I think proof that this is this kind of attention economy
He's certainly generating a lot of noise, but I think he falls off after this. And I hate to agree with my counterpart here from the other side, you know, that he is speaking to some issues, but he's also speaking in a way, in some ways, that is disconcerting for me.
Yeah, this kind of personal, you know, focusing on personal issues as opposed to ones related to policy, or again, kind of going after your opponent in the context of, oh, they're not eligible to be on the ballot, is really indicative of kind of the economics underlying politics. If I don't feel like I can compete with my political opponent on matters of policy, I'll attempt to compete with them on matters of bureaucracy.
And he's constantly attacking Israel, and for me, that's, look, they're an ally of ours. They've been a good ally of ours, and we're going to stand with them. And it comes across as anti-Semitic.
We are going to move on.